Hello, my name is Ekello Harrid, and this is the Future Fiction Academy. Welcome to class. Well, guess what Google did last week? They came out with a model that is not a reasoning model that actually is pretty exciting. It has 2 million tokens as context. That's somewhere around 1,500,000 words. Come on. So today we're going to see how it writes outlines. We're going to see how it writes prose, and we're going to see how it writes dialogue. And we're going to compare them against other large language models. Welcome to class. What is Gemini 2.0? Well, Gemini 2.0 is not a reasoning model, is a chat-based model, and is the newest version of Gemini. Because it's not a reasoning model, it's more of a chat model, just like 4.0, except it seems to be a bit better than 4.0. But as I've gone through a whole bunch of work with it, I figured something out. I figured out that it writes pretty well. It's a welcome successor. So that's the TLDR. Now, let's watch me play with Gemini 2.0 Pro. Here we are inside of Plot Drive. If you would like Plot Drive, there's a link in the description. We are running a special right now. It's free until the 15th. I gave it a backstory. I said, in a universe where the military and all of this stuff, and I gave it all of the information. You are this, that, and the other. I would like you to place the story after they've discovered the jump box, and this is all of the information. I want to build a unique story inside of the universe where this exists. There's a entire backstory that kind of encompasses human beings being genetically created to be slaves and so on and so forth. So I give it all of this backstory, even how old Rebecca is. So now it has all of this stuff, and it in turn writes a premise. As a matter of fact, when I was doing my story development, I wrote all of this stuff for story development. Oh, it gave me 10 different versions of a story that I could use. And I think I may have used one of the last few of them. Finally decided I was going to go with scenario number 10. It gave me a nice little beginning, middle, and end for that. And this is the premise. And this was all written by Gemini 2.0. Beginning. Rebecca Baker, 42, is trying to rebuild a semblance of a normal life. Her Georgetown apartment, crammed with books on logistics and obscure languages, is her sanctuary. Her days are spent lecturing, researching, and trying to forget the adrenaline-fueled, morally ambiguous world of special forces in the CIA. The news is buzzing about Raheem Ramos, the Egyptologist who accidentally teleported himself to another planet. But that is it writing. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the first few parts of the outlines that each one of these things did. Now, remember, I'm going to compare it to some different language models. I'm going to use, for outlining, I'm going to use R1 and O1 from OpenAI. They are definitely thinking models. I know that, but I wanted to see how it compared to those. Also, I'm going to use Claude, which is also incredibly creative. Let's see what the first one has for us. We have outlines. I'm going to read the first log line and see how it goes. A disillusioned ex-Special Forces linguist is blackmailed into joining a top-secret program exploring interstellar travel, forcing her to confront her past and a powerful manipulative senator who seeks to control a revolutionary technology. Now, I wonder, was there any other log lines? No, there isn't a log line, but it does say who the protagonist is, Rebecca Baker, and that's the O1 model. So let's go back to G2 Pro. As I look at it, it has all of the characters that it thinks should exist. The setting, the details. Here is the first scene in Act 1. Ordinary World. Introduce her academic pursuits, her disdain for past, and the buzz surrounding Raheem Ramos's discovery. She is immediately contacted by her old handler in the CIA and read in on the jump box program. Show her intelligence and physicality through a self-defense class she teaches in a flashback in her training with the very same handler. She immediately refuses to have anything to do with them and their aliens. Intrusion. An assassin tries to kill Rebecca in a parking garage. An autonomous drone intervenes and kills the assassin, but also has a delivery for her and a recorded message warning her not to contact the police. The drone delivering the blackmail material. This establishes the immediate threat and Rebecca's combat skills. Okay, not bad. Let's see what 01 says. Introduction. Rebecca's new life. Rebecca lives in a modest Georgetown apartment filled with linguistic texts and artifacts from past missions. She transitions from a life of covert operations to academia, lecturing at a local university and researching ancient languages. World context. The world is abuzz. Other outline. This is the one from Claude. Based on the backstory and premise, here's a story outline. The Jump Box Protocol. Opening scene. Rebecca gives a linguistics lecture at Georgetown, subtly incorporating her military experience while maintaining her academic facade. Not bad. Pretty concise, though. Tight. Almost too tight. Okay, detailed outline. The Jump Box Gambit. This one is DeepSeek. Inciting incident. Rebecca's quiet academic life shatters. Not bad, DeepSeek. Let's talk about the first scene. We're going to go back with DeepSeek, but this time we're going to use its V3 version. The reason we're using the V3 version is because it's more of a writing sort of AI as opposed to the other one, which is a planning sort of AI. I'm going to read the very beginning with the prose. This is DeepSeek V3. Rebecca Baker sat in the dim glow of her Georgetown apartment, surrounded by a towering stack of books on linguistics and ancient scripts. The second story window overlooked a quiet street muffled by the hum of a distant and take a drink. Her days now were a far cry from the chaos of her special forces past, laced with the quiet rhythm of academia and the occasional lecture at Georgetown University. The news of Raheem Ramos, wow, this is really bad, actually. Like super, is this a outline or is it actually the scene? Phone buzz, it was a call from, wow, yes. That's not great. Let's try the first scene, which is also split up to beginning, a middle, and an end. And this one is from 4.0. So this is GPT. This is an OpenAI model. What the heck? Rebecca had sensed something was wrong before she even slipped her key into the lock. Okay, this one's already better. The door wasn't broken or forced, but the air inside carried a faint metallic scent of another's presence. Years of training drilled into her and her instincts. Someone had been inside recently. Gripping the low-caliber pistol she still kept in her ankle holster out of habit, she swept through her apartment. Nothing disturbed, nothing missing, but on her desk was a single manila envelope. Inside, she found photographs of herself in a cafe weeks ago speaking with a foreign diplomat about, not bad. And that's 4.0. This is Claude Sonnet 3.5. The late autumn sun casts long shadows through Rebecca Baker's Georgetown apartment, painting stark lines across her collection of worn logistics papers and dog-eared manuscripts. She sat at the desk, 42 years of life etched in the subtle lines around her eyes, fingers trailing over an ancient Sumerian translation she'd been working on before the world went mad with tales of teleporting Egyptologists and alien encounters. The leather of her chair creaked as she leaned back, the familiar scent of old books and coffee providing little comfort against the growing unease in her gut. So far, a lot of AI-isms, but solid writing. Last but not least, we're going to see how well Gemini 2.0 Pro does. The Georgetown dusk, a bruised plum color bleeding across the sky, casts long melodic shadows across Rebecca Baker's sanctuary. Her apartment, a fourth-floor walk-up overlooking a cobblestone street, was less a home and more a curated archive of forgotten tongues. Books, bound in leather and parchment, teetered in precarious stacks, their spines whispering, "Well, my, oh my." I think we have a winner chicken dinner, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see how well it does with dialogue. I'm just going to write a cue, and I'm going to have it write some dialogue for me. Let's see. What would that cue be? How about a man is walking down the street playing a guitar and is stopped by a young boy who asks him how he played that's what I'm going to do. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Write me a scene that is full of dialogue between a old man who is walking down the street with a guitar playing a song, a young boy who stops him and asks him how he learned how to do that. I want incredibly bantery, fun dialogue. You can describe things, but really lay on the dialogue. And we're just going to do it on one story, one quick story. We're going to see how well it does with dialogue. The old man Silas shuffled down Bleecker Street, his worn leather boots tapping a slow rhythm against the cracked pavement. His guitar, a battered Martin D28, had seen better decades, hung comfortably against his hip. He strummed a bluesy riff, a tune that seemed to seep from the very pores of the city, all grit and weary soul. His fingers, gnarled and weathered like ancient tree roots, danced across the fretboard with a surprising agility. A young boy, maybe 10 years old, with a shock of bright red hair and a scattering of freckles, darted out from a doorway, nearly tripping over Silas's feet. He was clutching a half-eaten hot dog, mustard smeared across his cheek. "Whoa there, Sprout," Silas chuckled, his voice raspy but warm, well-worn leather. He stopped playing, the sudden silence punctuated by the distant honk of a taxi. "Mister," the boy said, eyes wide, staring at the guitar. "How do you do that?" Silas raised a bushy eyebrow, a twinkle in his eye. "Do what? Trip over my own 2 feet? Takes years of practice, son. Years. Not bad." The boy giggled, shaking, and said, "No, the music, it sounded like a train and a sad dog and a bunch of things all at once." Silas grinned, showing surprisingly white teeth for a man his age. "That, my friend, is called the blues, and describing it like that, you got a poet's soul, you do." "The blues?" The boy tilted his head. "Is it hard?" "Harder than wrestling a greased pig in a hurricane. Harder than convincing your grandmama that broccoli is actually teeny trees that taste like candy." The boy snorted, dropping a chunk of hot dog on the sidewalk. A pigeon swooped down, making a quick meal of it. But you make it look so easy." Silas leaned down conspiratorially. "That's the trick, kid. Making the hard stuff look easy. Like eating a whole watermelon in one bite. Or pretending you understand what your teacher's talking about in math class." The boy nodded vigorously, understanding the dawning in his eyes. "Yeah, I like that." "So, how'd I learn?" "Well, first made a deal with a crossroads demon." The boy's eyes went wide. "Really?" "No, just kidding. Though some days it felt like it. Truth is, I started by listening, really listening, to the wind, to the rain, to the city, to the old folks singing on the porches. Heard the music and everything. Oh my gosh, this is great. Winner, chicken dinner. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Gemini 2. That seems like plenty of information so that you can make a decision on whether or not you like some Gemini 2.0. And as the thumbnail says, Gemini 2.0 is here, y'all, and enjoy it because this is the worst it's ever going to be. My name's Ekello Harrid. If you are interested in the program that I use to facilitate any of this, it's called Plot Drive. I want you to go ahead on and click on that link below and get some of Plot Drive. You could also think about getting maybe one of our standalone courses over at the Future Fiction Academy. The Future Fiction Academy has tons and tons of things that we want to teach you about everything with creative writing and artificial intelligence. All right, everyone, go on over to the Future Fiction Academy and like this video, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see all of you, each and every one of you. Hi, Gracie. In class.